And so that's pretty incredible, because we already are sons of God, children of God, if we've trusted in Jesus. But one day the whole world will know who we really are. That's pretty crazy, right? Because inwardly, something has changed about us, the Bible says. When we place our faith in Jesus, the Bible says we've been born again, we've been made into new creatures, and yet on the outside we look just like everyone else. We get sick, we get old, someday we will die. The world sees us as being the same as them, but in reality we couldn't be more different. We are the children of God. We are the children of God, and not everybody in the world is. Right? It's a major false teaching to say everybody in the world is God's child. That's not true. Non-Christians, the Bible says, are enemies of God, in fact. Now, as we talk about this idea of adoption, when we think of adoption in sort of North American thinking, it's very different than what Paul meant here in Ephesians. He really has the adoption he had in his culture, kind of the Roman Empire version of adoption. Here's a quote I found online. I'm going to read it for you. I think it's helpful to understand what it means for us to be adopted by God. Here's what it says. Quote, "Any new baby in the Roman culture had to be accepted by the father of the family. Traditionally, the midwife placed the newborn at his feet, and only if the father of the family picked it up would the baby become a formal part of the family. The father had the authority to disown and sell his children into slavery should they anger him. Not so, however, if a child is adopted. In Rome, adopting a child meant, number one, that child was freely chosen by the parents and desired by those parents. Number two, that child would become a permanent part of the family, and in fact, the parents couldn't disown a child they adopted. An adopted child received a new identity. Any prior commitments, responsibilities, and debts were erased. New rights and responsibilities were taken on. Also, in ancient Rome, the concept of inheritance was part of life, not just something that began at death. And so being adopted made someone an heir to their father, joint sharers in all of his possessions, and fully united to him." End quote. And so when Paul says we're adopted into God's family, we aren't some lesser or secondary sort of stepchild to God. No, in fact, we are given the full rights of a blood-related son. That's pretty incredible.